Alex here from T-Direct Strategies. Got my hands on War Zone Nephilim yesterday, had to read through it, and wanted to sit down on the channel and have a chat about this. Now, it's been covered a lot, right? I don't get these books ahead of time, so if you're on YouTube and you're watching other content creators, they've covered this pretty much in detail already. So you may know all this already. If not, and you're here to listen to what I have to say, essentially what we're going to talk about is how this book is going to affect games on our channel, for better or for worse. I don't know. I think a lot of people are saying, let's try it out first, and not just one game, a handful of games, and then kind of circle back and see truly how this has affected the game. But we don't have that yet. The first game that we're going to be playing, actually the next battle report on the channel, will be using Nephilim as the rule set. So we'll see, starting out how it's all going to affect things. But essentially, let's put on our 1,000 point goggles, because that's what we've been playing on the channel a lot lately, and read through this book with those goggles on to see how we view it at 1,000 point games. Because, and I've talked about this a little bit in our battle reports before, but 1,000 points I think is a different experience than a 2,000 point game. Nothing against 2,000 point games, I enjoy them myself. It's just in 1,000 points, you have to be a lot more frugal, and you have to, I think, tactically think things through a little more, because there's less room for mistakes. You can make mistakes and get hurt really bad in 2,000 points as well, but in 1,000 point games, you don't have much backup or bounce back from a big mistake. Say you leave a unit out in the open, didn't use cover right, and your opponent neutralizes it first turn. There's not much other units that are going to kind of fill in for that later in the game, and you've probably put yourself on a really big back foot, and you probably might lose that game from it. So that's why 1,000 points, to me, feel a little bit more in the lines of frugality, if that's a word, not sure, let me know, and a little bit more tactical when it comes to army movement, placement, and picking and choosing what you're going to lose during the game. But anyways, so let's put those goggles on and read through the changes here. First thing I want to talk about is CP has been reduced, right? Went down from 12 to 6 and 6 to 3, depending on 2,000 points, 1,000 points. In a 1,000 point game, 6 to 3 is a big bump, I think. There are certain stratagems, certain codexes that do Alpha Strike stratagem shenanigans better than some other codexes. Just in this suite of armies that I play, a few more in the back here, but Necrons, I can do a lot with 5 stratagems. I can still do a lot with 3 stratagems, but 5 stratagems, I can, my destroyer units can still take out a Swarm Lord turn 1. Orcs, on the other hand, their deck, to me personally, isn't stacked very well for stratagem usage, so whatever. It doesn't affect the orcs as much, I don't think. Death Guard Marines, they're kind of in the middle. You could still do some things, with 3 CP, and so on and so forth. Now, in a 2,000 point battle, 6 CP, like I said before, I can do a lot of damage with 6 CP just with the old Necron Codex. So I don't know if that changes it horribly. Again, I can still do some one-shotting goodness on a couple units of transports, or a unit of pennant engines, or a Swarm Lord. I don't know. But again, 1,000 point goggles on, I do think the 3 CP stratagems have been reduced to the point where, yeah, you're probably not going to get as much of that first turn stratagem usage that is going to knock the balance of the game good. So that's a good thing. I view that as a good thing. My only tweak on this, if I'm reading this right, and I think I am, you still gain 1 CP at the beginning of turn 1, in my turn, and 1 CP in beginning of the command phase for your opponent. So even if you don't spend 3 CP at the beginning of the game, at the end of turn 1, you're going to have 5 CP. To me, I would have started the generation of CP at the beginning of turn 2 to truly make that turn 1 frugality, again, I'm going to use that word, impactful. And then after turn 2, you can generate it, and then I think that balances it out even better. But I don't know. Again, we have to try this out and see how it works. Again, I'm very happy with 3 CP to begin with. Now let's talk a little bit about, we have to spend 1 point for a Warlord trait and 1 point for a relic. I don't think a lot of people were expecting that. I wasn't. Does it make sense? I can see both arguments on this one. Again, some codexes, you're going to be like, meh. I don't have a lot of CP usage throughout a game. Again, looking at you orcs, I'm perfectly fine with spending a CP for Might is Right for a Warlord trait and a CP for To Kill a Claw, right, for your war boss. Because I'm not wanting to spend much anyways with the orcs, at least first turn with the orcs. There's some good, close combat stuff in there. So some codexes I think are going to be all in. Who cares if I have to spend 2 CP? There are other codexes that I think it'll be a little bit more of a strategical, I'm making up words this video, but a strategy, a tactic about, do I spend the points? For Necrons, for instance, I very much enjoy the Veil of Darkness. But I also enjoy methodical destructions, for my destroyers. Do I spend the points on relics or warlord traits? I don't know. And I think what people need to do, aside from listening to me or whoever you're listening to out there or reading for yourself, I think you have to come down to your own decision on per army what you're going to do. And I would start out, if I'm going to make a suggestion, I would start out by playing 3 to 4 games of not spending points on a warlord trait and a relic. Just start the game off with 3 CP. And after 3 or 4 games, reflect back and say, did I miss it? Did I miss the warlord trait? Or did I miss the relic? Did it really make a difference without me having that? If the answer is, man, I really missed that Veil of Darkness, or man, I really missed that To Kill a Claw, then I think you've answered the question for yourself. Spend that CP and get that To Kill a Claw or that hyperlogical strategist or whatever warlord trait or relic you like. And then after that three games of whatever you choose to not buy it or buy it, switch it around. Play another 3 to 4 games and pay the points for it and say, did this really benefit me in the game? Did it swing the balance in my favor? You might get a mixed response, you very well could, but you might actually come up with take notes and come up with a solid, decision for each of these codexes. That's a lot of games if you have a lot of armies, right? But that's part of playing games. We make reasons to play games because it's a great hobby, right? So that's my suggestion. Figure it out for yourself without, buying into too many people's opinions. But essentially, that's what I'm going to do. Like I said, orcs, I'm going to try spending the money and spending the CP to get that. For these, I might not spend the CP and see if I miss Veil of Darkness or see if I miss Hyperlogical Strategist or whatever it may be throughout these armies in the next coming months as we document our battle reports. And let's chat about it in a couple months from now, right? So that's my take on the CP relic expenditure. To recap, some codexes you're going to want to, some codexes you're not going to want to. Let's test it out together. So what are the changes? CP, but overall, the CP stuff I think is a good direction, GW. I'd be very curious if we can tweak that to turn 2, but we'll save that for another day. The next big change is the secondary objectives. They're all in this book now, at least for now, until new codexes come out. Then you might have to start sharing books again. But everything is in this book. If you're traveling for pickup games or going to a buddy's house, you got the core rules in here. You got the secondary objectives in here. So everything you need to play is in here aside from your codexes, right? So that's a good, nice little book to have for the, for the cost. It's not too bad of a cost. But essentially, the secondary objectives, the ones that everybody can take, they've been kind of reduced down or merged together I think all the different categories, Purge the Enemy, Battlefield Supremacy, there's 2, 2, 2, and there's a 3 category. Warpcraft has 3 still, which is interesting for Warpcraft because I don't think a lot of people were doing Warcraft. But I guess it gives you more options to maybe want to do Warpcraft. But anyways, it's been reduced, it's been simplified. I think they got rid of some objectives that people just weren't taking because there was reasons, why would you take them? And then they merged in some of those other stratagems that, just makes more sense to have them merged in anyway. So that was a good move. It was a simplification. Any type of simplification when it comes to the stratagem cards or objectives, in my mind, is a good thing. And then they put in everybody's army-specific ones in this book as well. And they said you can take not just one, you can take multiples of from more than one from each of these codexes, which I don't know yet. I'm not ready to put an opinion down on is that a good move or a bad move. I will say a very similar thing though. Some codexes with secondary objectives, you would probably will want more than one, and some codexes you won't. And it also depends on the army you're playing. For example, like the secondary objectives in the Orc Codex, I don't play Green Tide, and I personally feel the secondary objectives kind of make you play Green Tide if you want to pick those objectives. So it won't, like I won't want to for my armies because I play a more elite force with armor and death dreads and all that. No huge body count for orcs. So to me, it's like I don't really need to take more than one. If I even take one from there, I might just use I normally just use the regular, the open secondary objectives. For other ones, Necrons, I do like a couple of the Necron ones in there. Purge the Vermin, that's a good one. Do I want to take more? Maybe. We'll see. We'll test that out. Does it shift the game much? Personally, I don't think it will. Unless I'm missing some codexes out there, maybe I don't play the armies that have really good options for secondary objectives. But again, maybe it makes more sense in tournament play. But I'm not seeing much of a shift with having the ability to take more than one out of a codex. So I'm not going to talk about that too much because, again, I'm not informed enough on that to form an opinion other than just the armies I play. And again, we'll try them out and see in the next couple battles, right? So that's secondary objectives. That was the other big change in here. And what else? That's about it. The only other thing I want to say about this one is I don't know why or where I got this in my brain. Maybe I dreamt it up, but I was under the assumption, you shouldn't assume, but I was thinking that there would be new missions in here. I don't know where I got that information. Again, I might have dreamt it up. But as I compared the two, aside from the new rule of CP generation, all the missions in here are identical to the ones in here. Same titles, same deployments, same objective placement. If I'm missing something, put in the comments and let me know. But I was slightly disappointed for some reason I was looking forward to trying out some new 1,000-point missions. So maybe I missed something. But I will say I did look at that a couple times and I compared it, and I just didn't see any differences. So that's that. Is the book worth it? I do think it is worth it. I do think it is worth it. I don't know if I said this already, but I think if you're just an everyday type of average player, you're not playing a lot or a ton, I still think it's worth picking this up. At least one person in your play group worth picking this up to play, have these rules and play through the the missions. Even if you haven't gotten through these, again, it's the similar, just a few rules tweaks. It's worth that to get this rule book again, because if you're traveling, it's all in this book now. Is it good that GW has free points now for download? Absolutely good. Well done on GW to do that. Are they losing any money from this? I don't think so. I don't think so, because again, people are still going to buy this book. Whether the points are in it or not, they're still going to buy it, right? So does it hurt GW? I don't think it does. I think it helps GW because free points are just a good thing. It's just a PDF you don't have to have another book and you're cross-referencing and all that. So good direction there, GW, on that particular move. I hope you continue to do it in the future, right? So, but continue to do these books too. I'm all in for these. I think it does freshen things up. So that is good. Good. So let's talk about points a little bit. I'm not going to go in depth on the points. I had a look-see. I was sitting, had all my codexes out. I was looking at my army lists on my iPad here, and I had my phone with the free download, the Munitorium field notes or whatever they called it, and was comparing, cross-checking all these things, the reductions, seeing what was reduced. Across the board, there was a lot of reductions. I actually didn't see many points going up, at least for this stuff. All the points were kind of going down a little bit. I'm not going to go into huge detail on this, but let's just talk about orcs. Boys, Gretchen, I think Knobs as well, went down a point, right? That's a good direction. It's a good direction for orcs. I think anything the orcs can have is a good thing. Again, I don't field Green Tide. I field a more aggressive armored list that runs up the field right away. Maybe I'm missing something with Green Tide, but just 1 point reduction, again, it's a good thing. To me, if you're running big squads of 30, can you even take 30? Yeah, you can take 30. If you're running these big squads, you're saving 30 points, right? 30 boys. It buys you maybe a Power Claw, maybe another upgrade. Does it shift the game? Does it shift the orc army? I suppose if you're taking 3 squads of 30, that's 60, 90. That's 90 point savings. That's not too bad. You can buy another 2 units of Gretchen, because Gretchen went down a point too. I like that. That's actually the most exciting. For me, the most exciting points reduction is the Gretchen being 1 point less, because what are they now? 40 points? Instead of 50 or something like that. I mean, that just, you can have more Gretchen on the field and more objective secured little dudes that can hide and do that stuff. Does any of these points throughout this, do they make the armies better? Yes, they do, because you're getting something you didn't have. If points were going up, it would be detrimental, right? Points going down by a point or 2, to me, is not a big shift. Again, it might buy you an extra Power Claw, or it might buy you another upgrade. Like for demons, for instance. Not much love on the I think the only thing that I play corn-wise, the Flesh Hounds went down some points. So I saved enough points to buy an icon. I'm not going to complain. That's a free icon, essentially, for a Bloodletter unit. So a good shift. Does it shift a big improvement to some of these armies? I don't think so. Gladiator. I know a lot of people don't pick the Gladiator. I absolutely love the Gladiator variant. It went down in points. That pretty good amount of points. I'm happy about that. That'll actually, I can buy some upgrades for the Gladiator, where I would kind of keep it tooled down. Now I can add some extra stuff to it. That's cool. I'm down with that. Eliminators, I think, went down points. I think when any big list, an overall list reduction or points different changes come out, anybody is excited to kind of spread out your codexes, put your army list down, and see what you got, right? It's like you basically get some coupons. $1 off here, whatever, 50 cents off there. What is your total savings, and then what can you spend it with? I mean, that's, I think, the fun part of these points reduction lists. Even if they're small, like what we're talking about, I don't think there's too much army shifting. At least in my armies, I don't see much shifting. Locust Heavy Destroyers went down. I love my destroyers. That's a good thing. I think the Plague Burst Crawlers went down. I mean, they got hit with that whole indirect fire rule, so maybe they are worth less points. I think there's certain, like a Plague Burst Crawler, I think they're still good. and having them cheaper, I think that's even better, right? So I'm not going to get into some in-depth discussion on the points. I like any point savings because I can play with more points. Will it change my armies outright? I don't think so. We're still kind of in the testing stage on some of these 1,000-point lists. We tried out something new with the last battle report with Necrons. It didn't work out well. Again, there was a timing issue there. Could have worked out. The orcs, I think, are getting pretty optimized. Thinking about the orcs, we might drop that Daka jet down, and if there's some point savings there with Gretchen or some boys, might actually see some bodies on the field now. Having 2 or 3 more squads of Gretchen in replace of the Daka jet, who really maybe knocked down 5 models, 6 models a game. Yeah, I would take 2 more units of objective secured Gretchen. Sure, absolutely. So things to play with. That's the beauty of these updates. So I hope, again, I'm not getting into huge detail here. I'm just talking more generalized information and putting those goggles on and talking them through my meta and our meta here on Team Dark Strategies. So yeah, it was fun talking about it. I'm I'm raring to go. We got a game set up Monday to play. We're gonna shoot it for our next battle report. So you'll see the new rules being played. As always, I'm excited to play new rules. And as always, like and subscribe if you've been enjoying these videos. And let's get some more battle reports going. And in the comments, let us know. I mean, I think by now you know the armies that we play. These are the ones I play, including Grey Knights back there. Chris plays Tyranids. We have Adeptus Sororitas. We have Genestealer Cult. John plays Death Guard. He plays all of these armies. He's working on Chaos Knights, working on some Drukari. We got a lot of armies to play with, so in the comments, if you want to see a matchup, let us know, and we'll try to accommodate because we like playing games, right? So see us in the next one. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.